Hey guys! So today I want to talk to you about a book that I've recently read. It's called Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, and it is in a series. It's called the Boys of Tommen series, and there are 5 books right now. And it started out being recommended to me because it was a sports romance, and it is a rugby sports romance, which I know absolutely nothing about rugby, but that's okay because I didn't seem to need that information when I was reading it. It is also supposed to be a young adult romance. Um, and I mean, the content for like the romance, yes, I would agree. It's very minimal as far as romance. But the content other than that, I would say absolutely not. There is no way I would let my young adult child read this. It is very heavy, it has adult themes, and I would strongly encourage someone who is maybe 18 or older to read it. Things such as domestic violence, bullying, abuse, drugs, alcohol use, um, lots of adult themes. And so, with that in mind, please keep that in mind when you are purchasing this book or if you are recommending it to someone else. There are at least one full page before you read of trigger warnings. So if that will tell you anything, more information on the front of the book. Okay. So, would I recommend this book to someone else? I would say absolutely not. And let me tell you why. Here are some of my major reasons why this book will not come up when I am recommending books. Mainly because I have to escape my world. And when I escape, I want to have like an uplifting story and I want there to be a happily ever after. And this book did not give that to me. And I held out hope. Y'all, I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way that you can do this couple justice unless you have a happy ending. And even to the bitter end, I was like, it's okay. There's a lot going wrong, but we can fix this. We can do it. No, we didn't fix it. It was the worst happily ever after. And when I was going in and I was reading the story, I didn't even feel like it was a romance. I felt like I had picked up a horror film, a horror book. I really did feel like I had picked up the wrong genre. Okay. The book is told in multiple perspectives, which is great. I mean, like there's a place for that. I mean, it doesn't have to be one character. But I did feel like I didn't like the main characters. And when they finally started to like each other, it felt more like trauma bonding than it did an actual romance. And I could not get past the fact that Shannon, her name is Shannon and Johnny, she had been going through so much, and it's almost like she just latched on to anyone that she felt could protect her. And her dad beat her. She's got 5 brothers. Her mother didn't protect her. She had been bullied at her previous school. She went to a new school and she was having, a better time, but like it was a rough go there for the first couple of days. And she was just trying to make lemons out of lemonade. And so when she finally did have a relationship, I was like, this girl is so messed up. I don't trust her judgment. I don't trust that what she's feeling is love. I just think that she needed somebody to protect her. And so we spend two books because it's their story. It's Binding 13 and then Keeping 13. It's those 2 books. And we really just spend so much time, and it's so much heaviness that you're just trying to tread water. You're trying to keep your head above water. And you read this book and it's like coming up for air when you stop reading because it is so heavy, right? And I need more joy in my books. That I don't want to live in this kind of world. Now, did she do a good job of making it seem real? Did she do a good job of creating this couple and their experience that you felt emotionally connected? Yes, she absolutely did. Okay. Where I say I would have wanted more was when there were multiple characters on the page together. It was so much harder to read than when you just had two characters. Because when you had like a bunch of characters, there was a lack of description that occurred. And so you would have like a group of people in the middle of the lawn and you just had a bunch of dialogue. And I'm like, well, what are they doing? Like, they're just sitting out there just talking? No, I want you to be eating, or I want you to be throwing a football, or I want you to be twirling with your hair. Like, I want you to describe to me what these characters are doing, because there's no way they're just sitting there. They've got to be doing something. So it was a little bit harder for me to get the full picture when there were multiple characters on the page. But I would say a majority of the time there weren't a ton of characters together. They were all smaller groups. So overall, it didn't detract from the storyline. It's just that was one of my pet peeves, is when there were multiple characters and we had 6, 7, 8 people together. I was like, oh my goodness, just dialogue. So yeah, something to think about before you pick up the story. It is 5 books. You have Shannon and Johnny's story, which is book 1 and 2. And then you actually have to go back and reread their story from a different perspective, which is the next 2 books. And it's called Redeeming 6 and Saving 6, which is the story of Joey and her and his girlfriend Alfie. And you have to relive the trauma yet again, but from a different perspective. And so you do get a better, well-rounded story because, I mean, again, the abuse is not just happening to one child. And this is the older brother, so he has more on his plate. He's got more going on than Shannon did. But again, if you're going to commit to this story and you're going to get through the series, just know that you're going to have to live in this heaviness for all of these books. And that's a lot. That is a lot of trauma to have to live through over and over and over again, knowing that the outcome is not a happily ever after. And so that's a lot. That's a lot. I am excited. I have not read Taming 7, which is the 5th book in the series. This is actually picking up with a best friend of the story of Johnny from book 1. And we learn a lot about him. He actually is going to come up in all 4 stories because he's friends with Joey, the brother, and he's the best friend to Johnny. And he's the comedic relief, but I feel like there's so much that we don't know about him. And so I want to know his story and how him and Claire really connect. So I'm hoping this one will be a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit less heavy. But I will be picking this one up and I will be reading it because he actually was the one character throughout the story that I was so happy that was there, because if he wasn't there, this story would be unbearable, because again, he's the comedic relief. He's the one that I was like, oh my goodness, like I cannot breathe. I'm having to come out of this book just so that I can take a breather. So, something to think about before you pick it up. But those are my thoughts for the series, the Boys of Tommen series. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my comments, my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Bye.